Hello crafters, welcome to Ain't That Cute. This is going to be the first in a series of craft shows that we're going to pick projects each week, and hopefully you'll enjoy going along with us. And we're going to give you a list of the things that we're going to be working with so that you can gather those materials. You can work along with us, or you can catch the show possibly on a repeat and be prepared then to work with us. We hope you learn some techniques that are new to you. We're going to explore looking at some different techniques, and we're going to invite some of you to come in and show us the things that you know that you think we would enjoy learning. This is the project that we're going to do today, and it is the dried bread basket. And the materials we're going to use are a simple basket, some foam to anchor to the bottom, pieces of fabric to act as the napkin, some dried material to fill in the spaces between, glue sticks, and of course a glue gun. Now, the main feature of the things that you're going to see today are that they are dehydrated. Some of you have dehydrators that you may be able to dehydrate these things in your home in a dehydrator. It's very convenient. Most of the things that I dry, however, I dry in an oven. I'm going to tell you briefly how to do that. You have to remove the moisture from the things that you dry. So if you put them in the oven, in a low oven, and dehydrate them, you must remember to keep your oven door cracked open and allow that moisture to escape. If the moisture does not escape, you end up overcooking or over baking. But if you wedge a kitchen utensil in the door so that it stays open at least a half an inch, all that moisture will evaporate. The rolls that we're going to do today are dehydrated in about a 200-degree oven, and it takes about 2 hours with that door wedged slightly open. And make sure that you dry enough of any one object to complete a project at a time. These are bagels that were just purchased at the bakery department at a local grocery store, and they were dried the same amount of time. These do very well in a dehydrator too, but they're quite hard afterwards. If you want these to last indefinitely, almost forever, you must coat them with a plastic polymer, a polyurethane, a gloss, something that does not have a water base to it. None of these have been coated. I wanted you to see the natural look to them. This is a loaf of bread that was dried. This took about 4 hours in a 200-degree oven, and it was mounted on a wood board. We put a screw on the bottom to double secure it. It was glued then to the board. It should resemble a breadboard. If you have a breadboard, this would be an excellent way to leave it out and enjoy it all the time with a dehydrated loaf of bread. So a bow was attached. These flowers are simply a small candle ring that were glued to the center of the bow. So this is a product from the oven. Dehydrating is a good way to harvest your garden. This happens to be a former pepper plant and some raffia. The plant was harvested in one piece, hung upside down until it dried in a warm, dry area, and rather than put into an oven. And the raffia bow, the raffia was purchased, tied into a knot, and simply glued to it at the top. Those of you who enjoy the southwestern look might want to experiment with different types of peppers and drying them. This is another oven project. These are bay leaves with cranberries and fake gingerbread men strung on a piece of twine. Now this just came off my kitchen shelf this morning, and it has some slight fading to it, but it does look sort of a country look with that faded, informal arrangement. Now at the end of each program, you will find my address in case you have questions about the materials that we used, specific techniques that we used, and in shows where we have recipes, you can send, for example, this is the recipe for these gingerbread men, and you can send in a self-addressed stamped envelope and let me know exactly what it is you want, and I'll return it to you. And for today, if you want the recipe for the fake gingerbread, this is a coffee dough. Some of you may have seen the applesauce and cinnamon pieces that are stamped with a cookie cutter and then baked. This is a similar item, except this is basically a salt dough recipe with instant coffee for the coloring. It's more durable, and it's stronger, and it's less expensive to do. So if you want to try that recipe, watch for the address at the end and send for it. These are somewhat whimsical. These are magnets. And here again is the dried bagel with a little wool roving just simply glued on and a pair of eyes. You have to use your imagination to imagine that these are characters. And if these as refrigerator magnets would overwhelm your refrigerator, there are many bagels that are available that are just adorable. You might want to put a beard and a red hat on this guy. It could be a Santa as well as a bagel. Now, on the wall behind me are some other techniques for drying. The dried apples are dried in the dehydrator, but before you can dry an apple, you slice it about 1/4 of an inch thick, and you must coat it with lemon or some sort of pectin preservative. If you coat it with lemon, it will keep it from turning brown. Those are slightly faded, but they aren't as bad as my first batch that I did. Now, an apple, will, once it's dried, will reabsorb moisture from the air, so that you need to, if you want it nice and crisp and firm, you can again coat it with a plastic coating, a polyurethane, something not water-based, and it will stay nice and fresh. Those have not been coated. Now, in the center are orange slices that have been dried and a few berries applied to it. The berries simply are a purchased floral stem. They're artificial, but they fill in that between those oranges. The orange doesn't require anything extra to finish it off. It simply comes out of the dehydrator like that. If you like that orange fragrance in your house, you can purchase a bottle of orange fragrant potpourri oil and spray it on the orange, and they'll hold that orange scent for quite a while. The other is, again, the peppers right from the garden that were dried and placed on a grapevine wreath. The grapevine wreaths were purchased, but the grapevine wreath is another example of an item that you can dry yourself. If you have grapevine, wild grape, climbing your fence line, for example, and you might go out in the fall and take off a long length of that and wrap it into a wreath shape and allow it to dry over the winter. Next spring you will have some wreaths to work with. Those are some examples of things from the dehydrator. We're going to go ahead and start working. Let me set some of these things down with today's project. Slide some of these out of the way. Now, the basket that you use need not be an expensive basket, but if you do have a favorite basket that you would like to use, by all means use it. But make sure you dry enough for your project